Hi, it's your favorite chemistry tutor here, and we're going to be diving into the significant figures rules. So, what are significant figures? Significant figures are the numbers that tell us how certain we are of a value, and also it's the digits in a number that expresses the number's level of accuracy. And with this, there are some rules that come about. So, we have rules that tell us when the digits in a number are significant and when the digits in a number are not significant. So let's go ahead and dive into these sig fig rules, and we're going to start with the ones that are significant. So the one that is first is our non-zero numbers. And it's kind of in the name where you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those numbers that are, of course, not zero. So let's do a little example of how many significant figures would be in the number 1,234. We will count each individual number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 4 sig figs. Just a little short version of significant figures. So let's dive into the next one. And the next one is going to be our sandwiched zeros. So if you think about a sandwich, you have the top piece of your bread, the bottom piece of your bread, and everything in the middle is sandwiched between those two. So think of your sandwich zeros as being everything in between two non-zero digits. So our first non-zero digit is our 1, and our second non-zero digit is the 4. And all of those zeros in the middle are sandwiched in between that 1 and the 4. So that means that all of those zeros are significant. So we're going to count each single digit because all of them are significant. So let's start with this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here in this example, this number 10,004 has 5 significant figures. All right, and now we're going to move on to my favorite one. Just because of the example, it's the trailing zeros with a decimal. So you notice how I have two cars. I have a red car in the front and a white car in the back. And you see, whenever you're driving a car and you have somebody behind you, that person is trailing you or coming behind you. So our trailing zeros are going to be our zeros that trail or come behind a non-zero digit. So our non-zero digits here are going to be our 1 and 2. And let's make sure that there is a decimal present in the number because that is important when it comes to trailing zeros. Making sure that you identify that a decimal is there. And so once we've identified that a decimal is there, we can start counting all of our numbers in the example and then identify how many significant figures are there. So let's start with this one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this example, we have 5 significant figures. So now that we've identified all of the rules that come with the significant digits within a number, let's dive into the numbers or the digits that are not significant. So the opposite of the example we just did is the trailing zeros without a decimal. So I wanted to use a number that was similar. So in the previous example, we had 12.000. And in this example, we have 12000 or 12,000. So you see here that there is no decimal present, but we have 1 and we have 2, which are our non-zero digits. And then in the back, we have 1, 2, 3 trailing zeros, which trail or come behind our 2 non-zero digits. When it comes to here, having 3 trailing zeros, both of these have no decimal, so that means that it is not going to be significant. So now we can just count all of the digits in this number that are significant, which are going to be our two non-zero digits in this case. So for this example, the 1 and the 2 are going to be our two sig figs. All right, so now that we've identified the trailing zeros without a decimal, let's go to the one more and the very last rule when it comes to significant figures, and that is our leading zeros. So these are the ones that lead the pack, as leaders always do. So they come before or in front of your non-zero digit or your first non-zero digit. And in this example, we have 5, which is our first non-zero digit. So that means that every single zero that is in front of our number 5 or our first non-zero digit is not going to be significant. So it means that we don't have to worry about counting those. We can leave them out because everything in front of the 5 is not significant. So we're going to just go ahead and count the 5, the 4, and the 6. So that means we got 1, 2, 3 significant figures. There we go. So now that we've already gone through our significant figures with the ones that are significant and the ones that are not significant, I'm going to give you a quick way to remember the significant figure rules. So I made a little song. So if it's a 1 through 9, it's significant every time. If a 0 leads the pack, there's no significance in that. If it's a 0 in between, it's significant to the team. The zeros in the back, be a little careful with that. If there's no decimal around, give the significance a thumbs down. If a decimal is there, it's significant, my dear. So now that we've gone through all of our significant figure rules and I've given you a quick little song and a quick way to remember the significant figure rules, I hope that you now have a better understanding of significant figures. So click to subscribe to your favorite chemistry tutor for more general and intro to chemistry content.